Hey, what up, my star chasers? Roger D. Star here, and yeah. So before I begin, a lot of people are wondering, where's the Jimmy Neutron video? It's coming. Still working on it. It's coming, so don't worry about it. But so yeah, I have been streaming on Twitch on my gaming channel every Wednesday. So yeah, that's what I've been doing to fill in the time while also preparing the video. So just today, obviously I'd be releasing this tomorrow compared to but then yesterday was the day it happened, but technically it's today. Today it happened when I record this. So yeah, OniMai, I'm now your sister, or Oni-chan is done for if you want the original translation. So the anime adaptation is finally done, all 12 episodes. And we kind of get a little bit of a tease, which, honestly, it doesn't mean anything. I don't know, depending on the Blu-ray sales or the viewership in both Japan and on the US and Crunchyroll. So who knows if it's gonna get a second season or not. But so yeah, the anime. So I kind of already explained this in my reaction video, so I'll give a brief summary about it. So OniMai is basically about the story of one day an adult, a young male adult, wakes up one morning and he sees that he's in the body of a middle school girl. And of course he's really weirded out, disturbed by this, but then he discovers that his very intelligent scientific, little sister drugs him because she's going to use him as an experiment on testing her special drug that somehow reverses the gender and also age of the person. But in a sense, it's kind of her way of trying to bring him into a new life, because you discover later on in the story that the main character, Mahiro, you discover that he was mostly very shadowed. He basically, a lot of the times, he was overshadowed by his little sister, who's always been super intelligent, always gets the best grades in school, makes so many friends, while he himself never made any friends in school. In high school, he never made any friends. He basically never had friends over the years. He's basically kind of had almost a depressing life, and the only person that he's really connected to was his little sister, Mihari. So what happened is that, in a sense, you could argue the situation that he's in right now, in a sense, when you really think about it, I understand that some people find this kind of very weird, kind of like a very weird type of anime, but that's kind of what you expect from anime, honestly. I mean, I'm kind of used to seeing weird, stories like this, so it doesn't, so I thought, but I just wanted to check out, I've actually read the original manga way before. I literally was there during when the manga was released, like maybe a month, like when the manga was released during a month after, and I somehow found it. I found it online and I basically has been reading the whole series ever since it came out, and watching the anime and stuff. But yeah, some people kind of find this story a little bit off, maybe somewhat disturbing, and kind of just almost in a way gross. But when you actually delve deep into the story, it's actually much deeper when you think. Obviously, it's not. Obviously, I don't know if Neko Tofu, basically, I think that's how you pronounce his mangaka name, Neko Tofu, but, or I could be saying it wrong, but I'm not saying that he basically just tried to write something deep or not, but I can clearly see in my interpretation the idea of the character in Mahiro's situation is that he's basically getting a chance to, in a way, start over again. It's kind of like the movie, it's kind of like a reverse Big, but also kind of like that Zac Efron movie 17 again. Like, it's a mixture of those two stories in a sense, except where he's like a middle school girl and he's basically now living the life of a middle school girl, where he or she is basically now being watched by his little sister, and he has to learn about how, he needs to learn the life about female life. He has to think differently. The way he goes to the bathroom, the way he dresses, and stuff. Like I said, Mahiro dresses. Like I said, in a way, it's kind of, but less confusing idea. You get the whole picture and stuff. But at the same time, like I said, I feel like it's a little deeper than it's trying to put out, even though it is a very strange story. But like I said, I really do like what they do here, because in a way you think like, oh well, his male hormones are going to get around to the situations if he ever finds any female friends or eventually characters he's going to meet. But that's surprisingly not the case all the time, because he eventually does. Mahiro makes friends. He makes friends with both the little sister Momoji, who happens to be Mihari's friend's little sister, Kanade, and eventually Momoji introduces Mahiro to her other friends, which are Ashi and Mio, who, in my opinion, are possibly some of the best characters in the series. My special favorite one is Mio, just for how incredibly fun she is. Basically her character type is kind of like the nice girl, basically just not doing anything crazy or not trying to be, like I said, Momoji is the representation of a tomboy. The same with Ashi, though she's a little bit more extreme. She's almost going for the adventure extreme aspect. But Mio, at first you'd think, man, she's gonna be kind of boring because she's basically the simple nice girl. But you discover later on that she's really into Yuri, and you think, man, I've seen something like that before. But it's like, you've seen somewhere like the character from K-On! Sumugi from K-On! That's very similar. But just like Sumugi from K-On!, they really do try to make something out of her obsession of Yuri. It is insanely funny. Her reactions are great. But I do think they are better in the manga compared to the anime. But like I said, this is like the package of the series in a sense. It's just a basic slice of life series with kind of some wacky situations that happen. But then of course there is kind of the main thing where now Mahiro, that he finally has this life, a new life. He ends up also going to school as well. It's not just, oh, he's going to be at home all day but still act like a little middle school girl. No, she actually goes to school. Mahiro actually goes to school and then meet other characters, some fan favorites like Nemu and other types of characters. Like, there's some characters who are basically there just to say catchphrases, but at the same time do put some character development in there. Like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, but I will say this. I will say that the anime adaptation definitely adds some things that the original manga didn't have, but if you were to tell me right now, how would I recommend OniMai? Sadly, I do have to say this. If you want to basically get into OniMai, but of course, depending if you're willing to read the story for, even though it's a weird type of story, but if you're completely fine with that, if you're going to get into OniMai, I have to tell you this. You're gonna have to read the manga. I know this might be a little upsetting to a lot of more, because I understand a lot of people say that anime is basically a great introduction to a lot of these stories. Some, anime I've managed to get into, before reading the manga, like Lucky Star, Mishiboshi Colors, K-On! K-On! Technically is better than the original source material, which a lot of people say, which is, to be fair, true. Hinamari Sketch. So like I said, there are some anime that I have seen way before. I've seen the anime first before reading the manga, but this is one of the few cases where, but nowadays, back then I would say that, but in case nowadays, you should read the original source material, because there are some things that are different than compared to the anime adaptation, which sometimes they don't even use the chapters and stuff. And I feel, here's the thing, I don't dislike the anime. The anime honestly is a decent adaptation, but there are some flaws in it which where I have to say you just need to read the manga. The manga not only is way more better paced, it's also, for the lack of the better words, less explicit. Yeah, for some odd reason, I don't know if this was Neko Tofu's idea. I don't know if it was the studio, the animation studio, who basically decided to choose this, but they kind of, it's the same story and also the same situations, but well, adding a few little things to obviously fill in the anime runtime. But I will say this, for some odd reason, they kind of made it a little bit more explicit. Like, there's nothing extreme about it that makes it, TVMA or something like that. But there are moments in the anime where it's a little bit more, nicest way of saying it, a little bit more showy, compare a little showing. They kind of show things. Funny enough, there's surprisingly, for example, the best example is the factor that for some odd reason there's an uncut and a censored version. And Crunchyroll was weirdly from the studio got the censored version, which I'm kind of wondering because Crunchyroll has been known for having TV MA stuff, so I have no idea why would they have the censored version when in Japan, in their supposedly, now a lot of people tell me that the uncensored version was in Japanese TVs, but I don't believe that. I mean, they censored a lot of things from, Japanese TVs. They don't show explicit stuff unless maybe it's an adult anime channel and something like To Love Ru. I can understand that, but even they censored To Love Ru in Japanese TVs, and you don't usually see the uncut version until you get the Blu-ray or the DVD version of the anime, and that's what they usually sell in Japan as the uncut version. And there's a TV version and an uncut version, so it's just kind of weird that somehow Japan got an uncut version when they put it on TV, but I think it's more that they had like their own personal streaming services. I could be wrong when they released the anime, while the US got Crunchyroll, and that's the only official way you can watch the anime, or use third-party websites. But I mean, for a lot of people seem to really love the anime, so honestly, to support the anime, you either need to buy the manga, you need to support the Studio Bind, it's Studio Bind, or you need to watch the anime in Crunchyroll. That's what you have to do. That's like 3 things you have to do in order to support if you want that second season. Or, I heard that the Blu-ray's coming out, but I don't know if a lot of people in the US will able to even buy the Blu-ray unless you have a region-free Blu-ray player or something like that, the DVD. But in any case, it's just kind of weird how there's an uncut version and a censored version. And looking at both, there's not much of a difference other than when they have a bath scene, or when there's actually some scenes that are cut because there are certain characters, for example, the girls' locker room, which I understand, but there's actually one moment where in the original manga it made the joke really funny, but I feel that when they did that in the censored version, it kind of took away the joke, which, really does be a disservice to, like, the original source material. So, yeah, it's kind of those type of things, really, when you really think about it, because, in all honesty, like I said, I think OniMai, I'm Now Your Sister is pretty funny. It's a very kind of calm but also kind of really nice slice of life, but I think the main, really main meat of the story, and just really the story that just, a lot of people are holding on to, is that how long is Mahiro going to keep the secret from Momoji, which I think when reading the manga, that is literally in a lot of people's minds right now, and it's kind of in my mind too, because I know that eventually the story is going to end. I don't know if Neko Tofu is either going to make this last super long like Lucky Star, or he's actually has an ending planned and how he's going to end the manga. And I don't know. I'm actually kind of curious of how it is going to end, because it's actually going to be kind of sad, because when yeah, you're probably like, oh, well, isn't that better because of the factor? But you have to really think about it as a fictional story, because, you know, that's just kind of a thing. You know how kind of sad it, like anyone who saw the movie Big, you know how sad it was when eventually the ending happened, but obviously there's a bit of happiness towards the end of Big and stuff like that. Hold on. Yeah, it seems the camera's kind of like going a little blurry. Sorry about that. But that's just kind of the thing, guys. Like, in all honesty, this could be really sad. I don't know how it's going to end. Will eventually they find out the secret? Will Mahiro be able to, like, salvage the whole thing? What will happen to Mihari and her friendship with Kade? Like I said, I'm sorry, I'm just terrible with Japanese names. I'm so sorry. But like I said, that's the kind of the main stronghold of the story, that you enjoy, like, these characters, you like their interactions with each other, you like just like the peace and the friendship that they have, the strong friendship. Like I said, that's what's so great about the story, honestly. I can understand some people not getting into it, but honestly, it's anime. I mean, and also it's, manga, it's Japan, like they have such strange stories, but somehow there's kind of like a little deep meaning to it. And I don't know if that was Neko Tofu's intention, but like I said, I really did enjoy the anime. Now, before I get to the end, let me talk about the nitpicks. So, this, about particularly the anime adaptation and why I think I prefer the manga over the anime. So, the big reason why, and this is a big reason, the first few, when I first saw the trailer to this, there was a little bit of an issue. I remember watching the trailer and I noticed a lot of the saturation, the color saturation, the brightness. It was like really, really bright. Like it almost like, for even when I saw the trailer, I'm just like, wow, this hurts my eyes for like a few seconds, but maybe this is just for the trailer. Maybe they're gonna fix this in the anime adaptation. When the anime premiered, literally the first few episodes had really bad brightness and saturation. Some people didn't even notice it, but I noticed it very quickly. Like when you see Mahiro's room and it's supposed to be dark, you can see just the light. The light, you can barely see the background and stuff. And and you're missing a whole lot of detail and stuff, like from the original story. And I'm just like, what were the animators doing? I swear, like, what were the animators doing when the first few episodes came out? Like, I swear, I felt like, like, every time I watched an episode, I felt like I needed, like, a 2-minute break. And this is coming from a guy who's seen a lot of bright and colorful movies and stuff. For example, the movie DreamWorks Trolls, I remember seeing that in theaters, and it was just really hurting on my eyes, because of the many colors, that were going around. And no, it's not that I have like an eye problem or anything like that. Just letting you guys know I don't have that problem. I don't have, the effects of flashing lights and stuff or anything like that. Just giving you that info. It's just that even for people who have regular vision, 20/20 vision, you can tell when something is too bright. I mean, come on. Like, when you stare at the sun for like, a little bit too long, you can tell that's going to hurt your eyes anyway. I felt like when watching the first few episodes, it really hurt, okay? It really hurt, like, because of how bright it was. And thankfully, later on in later episodes, they fix the problem. The brightness is down, the saturation, the colors are in the right it just felt great. It just felt great. Like I said, that I'm glad that they fixed that later. But, you know, I'm hoping that in a Blu-ray release or a DVD release that eventually will come, I'm hoping they fix the problem later on. I am so hoping they fix the problem. Okay, and another nitpick of the series is the voice actress for Momoji. Now, here's the thing. When you think Momoji as a character is a basic tomboy character, but you start to wonder, like, okay, basic tomboy character. Okay, so obviously she kind of has like she's supposed to have like a boyish voice a little bit. You know, that's what you think of. And when you even read the original manga, you think of like these, you know, voice actresses who's played tomboy characters. I actually I actually thought about one, you know, who would be the voice of Momoji, but obviously that wouldn't be the case. But then when I saw that the person who was going to voice Momoji in the anime adaptation happens to be the same voice of Yu from Yuru Yuri, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, perfect casting. I'm just like, she's amazing. She's amazing doing something like that. She's already ready to do that voice. So, you know, it's going to be a little distracting because she also did the same voice for Yuyushiki. So, you know, if she's going to do it for this anime, so be it. Let's see how it goes. The first time I heard her, I don't know what direction she was given, but she did not do the same voice she did for you, for both Yuri or Yuyushiki. She basically did a different type of more feminine, you know, feminine kind of. She does have a little bit of the tomboy voice in there, but she just sounds like a generic person. She just sounds like a very, maybe she's using her real voice, I don't know, but she sounded very generic when I saw her, the voice of Momoji. She, like I said, she's not performing bad. It's more as the voice. Like I said, I was expecting her to use the tomboy voice, but it wasn't the tomboy voice. It was a completely like different type of voice that didn't sound like that. I don't know. I just
スキップしてたら足の小指をぶつけて涙が。うわー恥ずかしい。だから言いたくなかったんだ。そういうのが好きなお兄さんなんだ。さすがにこれは良くないよ。
I just didn't like I didn't like the voice. And it's just kind of sad because Ashi and Miyu-chan was actually, you know, cool. I actually liked their voices. Their voices matched the characters in the manga. The same with Mahiro, the same with Mihari, the same with Kane. Everyone was spot on except for Momoji. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't dislike her performance. She clearly did the best she could and stuff, and I'm totally glad for it. But like I said, I kind of had a problem with it. So another nitpick, and this is my final nitpick about the anime, I think another reason why I prefer the manga over the anime is that it's definitely paced better. Like, it's not to say that the anime is not paced well, but they do remove some stories, they do jumble areas to make it work for the anime adaptation, and I'm kind of fine with that. They had to kind of find, and they kind of do an original, they mixture both an original anime ending with a kind of some, you know, they kind of took some of the chapters of the original story, but they changed it though. And also the expressions compared to the manga, I think I already said this in my reaction video of episode 8, I felt that the reactions in the manga were way funnier in the manga than in the anime, which is so weird because usually the anime adaptation has such, they perfect the visuals on it. I like, for example, in Laid Back Camp, they did that whole Rin, you know, shooting her eyes out, shooting it back in, you know, and stuff kind of thing, you know, that cartoon logic thing. So I felt like they did that really well, yet for some odd reason in this one, they kind of tone down a lot of the reactions. Like, you know, there's like I said, there's this one part where, you know, the characters are having a sleepover, and there's a scene where in context, they're having a sleepover, and before they head to bed, they have to take a bath. They have to basically, they're sleeping over at Mahiro's house, and they both have to take a bath. So they're trying to take, but then Mio's basically suggesting, let's go in pairs, because of her obsession with Yuri and stuff. And so then in the original manga story, Ashi and Momoji had these really funny but disturbing kind of reactions to Mahiro, like I said, because they want to basically pair up with her, in the bath and stuff, but that didn't happen, like I said. And then there's other reactions, like when Ashi's basically talking about the story of the pillow flipper or something like that. Like I said, there are just some moments. They do add some things in the anime adaptation, like the pillow fight. They add some descriptions of what the pillow monster, like the pillow flipper is. Like I said, I do like that they added things to the anime adaptation, but then they kind of take away a lot of things that made the original story funny. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if it was Neko Tofu who agreed to this, or basically the studio said, like, no, we have to make these changes because, anime adaptation, we have to make it work and stuff, that kind of thing. I don't know. I felt that, like I said, it's not a bad anime. Honestly, it's a really decent adaptation of the original manga. But like I said, I suggest that you read the original manga and support it. Though sadly, there's no physical release because, okay, so the American distribution, Korodashia, I think that's what it's called, did the English translation for OniMai, I'm Now Your Sister, but for some odd reason, it's only digital. And that really pisses me off because, I'm sorry, that was my phone there for a few seconds, but that really, really pissed me off. Like, I really, really wanted a physical release of this because I want to actually have a physical release of a few of the volumes of this because I really love the manga. I really want to know where the story's going. Like I said, support the manga. You can buy it digitally in Kotogashi. I'm hoping at some point that the anime becomes so popular that they'll release a physical version of the manga. I am hoping that's the case later on. I really want an English physical version of the manga. I'm not just going to buy the Japanese version. I want to actually have the physical version, but in English, please, Kodashia. I think that's the distribution's name, but please, I want to have the physical version of this. So overall, a pretty decent adaptation. I really enjoyed it. I not too much of the fan of the OP. I feel like doesn't represent the original manga, but it's not a bad OP either. I actually enjoy the ED more. I enjoy the ED more because I really do love the dances, and also I love the title cards, from different artists and stuff. And also, yeah, I don't know who animated episode 8 and the finale because they feel like it's different animation. I don't know. Something felt different about the animation compared to, like, with the details of the body of the characters, how they animated them before compared to how they animated them in episode 8 and episode 12. I really did like the animation in episode 8. I really love the beautiful animation in episode 12. Like I said, I feel like it's a really good consistency. I didn't really think too much of the OP. I love the ED, like I said, and I love the beautiful music of the ending of, episode 12. Like I said, I thought it was really good. Like I said, it's a decent adaptation. I would recommend it for people who just want to watch the series, I guess, who just want to watch the series and not read it, I guess. But like I said, recommend the manga. OniMai is really good. Thank you, Neko Tofu, for somehow I guess you're really happy that this got greenlit, and hoping for a season 2. I really want to see that tease in the end somehow doesn't represent the season 2. Please buy the Blu-ray. Please support Studio Buying. Please. And also, I hear that there's going to be an OVA, so yeah, I'm excited for that. See you next time, Star Chasers. Yeah, pretty good series.